So, Trickstars, like you might guess from the name, is a deck with a bunch of tricks. They don't usually do anything that broken, but they do a bunch of little annoying things that all add up to eventually give you the win. The Trickstars all have some type of effect that's gonna do damage to the opponent, and the idea is that you can gradually whittle the opponent's life points down enough so that they either kill themselves with the damage while they play, or they'll lower their life points enough for you to be able to get in for game easily. Candina does 100 damage to the opponent every time they use a spell or trap. Licorice does 100 damage to them every time they want to add a card to their hand, which synergizes pretty nice with Compulse. Light Stage does 100 to them if any of your Trickstars do damage to the opponent. Devardis does 100 every time the opponent summons. Foxglove Witch does 100 for each card they control on summon, and if it's destroyed, summons a link 2 or lower Trickstar from the extra deck, and then does 100 for each card they control again. Bella Madonna, if it doesn't point to anything else, does 100 for every differently named Trickstar in Grave. And lastly, Holy Angel does 100 every time a Trickstar is summoned to a zone she points to. 100 burn at a time seems really insignificant, because we start with 4k life points. That means we can survive them doing 100 burn 39 times, and you might be able to stop them before they get to that point. You better stop them though, because the burn definitely adds up, especially when they get to use Foxglove Witch and Bella Madonna. Burn ain't the only trick these stars can pull off though. If the opponent would try to get rid of one of your Trickstars or compromise them in any way, you could use the quick effect of Trickstar Licorice in hand to return that Trickstar to the hand to special summon herself. This could be used when the opponent wants to chalice your monster. By returning that monster to the hand, the chalice will no longer apply to it, so its effect will resolve successfully, and you'll have it in hand to use again later. During battle, you could attack with one of your Trickstars, then return it to the hand with Licorice so you can get another attack in. This could be especially nasty alongside Trickstar Korribane. You can special summon herself if you control no monsters, or if the only monsters you do control are Trickstars, and it could attack with its 2k attack, then be bounced to your hand with a Licorice so that the Licorice could attack. You could also potentially use the hand effect of Korribane to double your Trickstar's attack for the turn, making Licorice 3200 and much more likely to beat over something. Korribane's battle trick effect can also make it really dangerous to attack into your Trickstars, because the opponent has to consider not only if the monster they're attacking with is bigger than your Trickstar, but if they are bigger than if your Trickstar were to be buffed with Korribane, because they lose their own monster by battle if it's not big enough, and the leftover damage that would bounce towards them would help contribute to all the other burn that's gradually killing them. Korribane only works when monsters are battling each other though. You can't attack directly and use Korribane's buff. Another battle trick is with the Foxglove Witch. It only being 2200 attack, it's possible that you're not going to have enough to attack to beat over an opponent's monster. However, you could use it just to crash into an opponent's monster so that it can get its floating effect to summon a link 2 or lower Trickstar from the extra deck, and perhaps more importantly, to get more burn damage, since it will burn for 100 for each card the opponent controls, not only on summon but when it dies too. That extra damage might be exactly what you need to go for game if their life points are low enough, or if they would be lowered enough by this effect so that the link 2 you float into could go for game with Korribane. But the Trickstars have yet even more tricks than just burn in battle. If either you or the opponent use an effect to destroy the link Trickstars, they can be protected because of the grave effect of Trickstar Festival. It can banish itself from grave so that they don't get destroyed. So you could pair this up with Dark Hole or Needle Ceiling, which would both destroy all monsters on the field, which could be equally bad for both you and the opponent. But it would be almost a one-sided board wipe if you have Festival engraved to protect your Trickstar links. If you didn't have Festival though, there are still other benefits, like if you have Foxglove Witch on the field when you destroy the whole board, then Foxglove will get to float and you'll still have a monster on board at the end of it, while your opponents won't. If you have Holy Angel on the field, she also protects Trickstars she points to from both battle and card effects, so using Dark Hole or Needle Ceiling will destroy her, but it won't destroy the Trickstar she pointed to, so you'll still have the board advantage. If all you came to this video for was to find out what exactly the tricks were that the Trickstars do, then that's pretty much all of them. But how you actually meant to play the deck? Well, the big thing you want to start off with is the skill Holy Angel trick. It doubles the damage that Holy Angel does, which is pretty nice, but the main thing is that you can once per duel gain life points equal to the attack value of a Trickstar link on your field. The biggest we have is Bella Madonna at 2800, but that's a whole last link for, and we aren't always gonna go into that all the time anyway. Normally, we're gonna be going into either Holy Angel or Crimson Heart, which each have 2k attack. Crimson Heart, instead of dealing burn to the opponent, actually heals you for 200 life points every time a Trickstar is summoned to a zone she points to. She has the effect to discard any Trickstar card to make both players draw a card. Making the opponent draw a card is going to be helpful for them, even if you yourself drawing a card is going to be helpful for you too. But we can mitigate that risk with the upgraded form of its effect. If you have at least 2k more life than the opponent, then you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1, meaning that you get the better end of the deal. So basically, you'll want to summon Crimson Heart, use the skill to gain 2k life, then since your life will be 2k higher than the opponent's, you'll discard a Trickstar and draw 2 cards, while the opponent will draw 1. Drawing 2 cards is going to help us see our follow-up plays, but it will also help us see our tech choices. This draw engine is what really makes Trickstars special, because you can play a whole bunch of anti-meta cards in your deck and see them more consistently by having Crimson Heart drawing into them. We might go into Holy Angel if it's the protection effect we want from her arrow, or if we want to do some damage by summoning monsters to the zone she points to, but we will more likely prefer to go into Crimson Heart for that draw. So most of the time, the only reason we would go into Holy Angel is because of the skill getting life gain, if we didn't happen to have a Trickstar to discard with the effect of Crimson Heart. But the good thing about that is, if we don't have a Trickstar to discard, that must mean that we have a bunch of staples in our hand already, we don't need to draw into them. The best way for us to go into one of these Link 2s is with Trickstar Festival. Yeah, it's more than just a good grave effect, it also summons 2 Trickstar tokens for us, so it's a nice and easy 1-card way to go into a Link 2, while immediately providing protection for that Link 2. We can even search for Trickstar Festival using Trickstar Candina, who on normal summon searches for any Trickstar card. So hard opening the festival, or having Candina to search the festival, that basically makes 6 copies of Festival in our deck. And that's actually 7 if you include Light Stage, that can search any Trickstar monster on activation. So you could use it to search Candina, which would search Festival. The only downside of Festival is that the turn you use it, you can't summon anything except Trickstar. If you're using this to link climb as the game goes on, you're going to be going into your other Trickstar link, which that's not a bad thing, but it's just something to keep in mind. If you are looking to link climb without Festival so that you can go into other monsters, of course you have your normal summon you could use, especially normal summoning Candina and searching Licorice, so Licorice can bounce back Candina to normal summon again on the next turn. You also have the free special summon of Korrabane, but you have to keep in mind that it won't be able to special summon itself from hand if you control a monster that isn't a Trickstar. The only non-Trickstars we'd need to go into are the utility ones anyway, like Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, Borrelord Dragon, or even potentially Borrelsword Dragon. These aren't going to be contributing to your game plan at all, but they are going to be there if you need their kind of effect specifically. To get rid of something that you otherwise couldn't, just make sure that you don't use Festival the turn you need to summon these and you'll be all good. Trickstar Bella Madonna is actually unaffected by other card effects, but only if it isn't pointing to anything. It has 2 arrows pointing down, so if it's in your extra monster zone, you only got to worry about not summoning to those zones. But it also has an arrow pointing upwards, meaning that the opponent can pretty easily turn this off just by summoning a monster to the zone it points to. If you really want to summon this in a way that it'll stay unaffected, then you'll have to summon it to a main monster zone below one of your other links so that you have control over what it points to, but that requires a hell of a lot of summons, and Trickstars just isn't really a combo deck like that. Instead, what you want to do is use this as a way to help you finish off the game. You can use whatever effects you have available, like Dark Hole or other removal effects, to clear up the board a bit and go into this making sure it's pointed to an opponent's unoccupied monster zone so that it's unaffected. Alternatively, if the opponent already has an unoccupied monster zone, you could summon this to the extra monster zone that points to that zone, then use Dark Hole to wipe the board since Bella Madonna would be protecting herself. You'll be trying to do this in the late game when you have a bunch of Trickstars in your grave, so that you can use her ignition effect to burn the opponent by 100 for each differently named Trickstar engraved. If you have like every Trickstar in the deck other than herself engraved, that's going to be 700 damage. And that's a lot of damage considering you've probably been burning the opponent a lot already during the duel, and you might have even gone into Foxglove Witch before going into this for even more burn. And then if the field is clear enough, it's 2800 attack, so it can likely attack for game. Even more likely if you have Korrabane in hand to double it, though keep in mind that it won't be doubled unless it points to a monster. A lot of games it won't come to that, just because you may win just by burn damage and attacking with your smaller Trickstars, and the opponent crashing into your Korrabane boosted Trickstars. This deck is incredibly adaptable because your main deck engine can be as little as 10 cards, because you need 3 Candina, 3 Festival, and 1 Light Stage for consistency, and at least 2 Carbane and at least 1 Licorice. You can play 3 Carbane to have easier access to it, and you can play 2 Licorice to open it and protect your Candina more often. But as far as the bare minimum is concerned, this is all you really need. That leaves a lot of deck space for tech choices you could play to help you deal with whatever annoying shit is going down in that format, and Crimson Heart is going to help you draw into those things. As far as building the deck is concerned though, it's fairly easy. First you unlock Blue Angel from Vrain's World and level her up to level 35, and that'll give you Trickstar Light Stage, Trickstar Crimson Heart, and your 3 Trickstar Carbane. The skill Holy Angel Trick is a random drop you can get by dueling legendary duelists on PvP mode. You can get it easier if you have a skill ticket. From there you open the mini box stage of Trickstar 3 times so that you can obtain 1 Holy Angel, 3 Candina, 1 or 2 Licorice, and 1 Devardis. Then you'd go into the Future Circuit main box, but only 1.5 times there, because you'll only need 1 copy of Bella Madonna and 3 copies of Trickstar Festival from this box. I know that this looks unappealing since you have to go through 2 boxes for this deck, but the Future Circuit main box is a box that everybody should go through anyway, just to obtain 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 3 Dark Hole. And you can get all of those just along the way to getting your Madonna and Festival. Any card you can play past that is just going to be based on what you have available or what you feel is going to be best against the most popular decks. For cheap options, you can get Needle Sealing and Forbidden Chalice from box chips, and like we talked about before, Needle Sealing synergizes with this deck pretty well. You could also invest in some copies of White Princess from the Energy of Giga Ray's mini box. It's only an R rarity card, so you'll be able to get all 3 before even finishing the box. And this card can discard itself to reduce all monsters' power by 300 for each of their levels or ranks. So if you have a Link on board, it isn't going to affect your Link, but it can reduce all your opponent's non-Link monsters to make sure that they can't attack you for game. Other than that, any generic staple is going to be good in this deck. Hand traps like Lancia, Crow, Veiler, Meister, or even traps like Compulsor IDP. These are all cards you'll be wanting to get sooner or later eventually, so having Trickstars available as a deck that can immediately use any of them is going to be nice. This deck just doesn't seem to ever fully go away. It might not be the most competitive deck, but because of how versatile it is with its deck space, you should never be surprised to see it popping up and stealing wins. Here's my deck for the current format. My tech choices are 3 Lancia because almost every deck in the game is hurt by Lancia right now, 3 IDP for similar reasons, even though it does conflict with the Lancia, just because it's so important in this format to be able to interact with the opponent's graveyard shenanigans. So you want to be able to draw into either Lancia or IDP, and if you draw both, then you can always use IDP first and then use Lancia. After those, I have 2 Dark Hole because of the synergy and trying to help us going second and help us going for game, and also White Princess to keep us alive against hyper aggressive opponents. And it's also cool because it can be used offensively to shrink an opponent's monsters when you're going for game. But enough yapping from me. I know what you really came here to see. It's time to do. Alright, so we're going first here. Got a pretty good hand here because we have Light Stage. Light Stage gives us anything we want, as well as a bit extra burn on top of it. We're going to activate that one. That one's going to search for Candina. We're going to normal summon the Candina, and the Candina is going to search for the Festival. We're going to activate that Festival. It's going to give us a couple of tokens. He's going to summon TG Warwolf. Looks like he's playing TGs. We're going to turn our 2 tokens into Crimson Heart, and we're going to use our skill to gain 2k life points from the Crimson Heart. Discard our Carbane to draw a couple of cards. We got an IDP here, not amazing against TG if they know how to play against it. If you want to learn how to play against IDP, then go ahead and check out Weatherman's TG guides. But more than that, we also have White Princess in hand, which is almost a guaranteed survival against TGs if we can somehow follow up. It's going to be his turn. He's going to start off with using his skill, turning his striker, getting his limiter removal. He's going to activate that. Because he activated a spell card, it's going to trigger our Candina to burn him for 100, which will also trigger the Light Stage to burn him for 100. Nice little burn. He's going to normal summon his striker, special summon Booster Raptor, and what he should do here is use Warwolf and Striker to go into Wonder Magician to pop our IDP, but for some reason he goes into Star Guardian. Now Star Guardian is a warrior type monster, so is TG Strike. After he tries to add it back, I'm going to target it with IDP. He's going to chain his Survival's End, destroying Booster Raptor and my Crimson Heart. Oh no, whatever will I do about my Crimson Heart? Anyway, I'm going to protect it with Festival. I'm going to banish his Striker and his Star Guardian, and he's going to scoop it up. Alright, so we are going first here, and we do have our starter of Festival, so I'm going to activate that Festival. It is technically the worst star in the deck because you want to open than any of the others because they give you more, but Festival is still a starter nonetheless. So we make 2 tokens and turn it into our Crimson Heart, gain a couple of stacks with that skill, discard one of our Carbanes to draw a couple of cards. Another Festival for our follow-up play, a Lancia, in case they do any Lancia type things, but we have a White Princess and a Carbane to protect our Crimson Heart in a battle scenario, and we also have the Trickstar Festival engraved to protect us from destruction one time. But yeah, he's going to be playing Dark Magician. He's going to use Illusion, search Dark Magician, normal summon it. He set this back row right here, but for some reason, I don't know why they keep setting Timaeus, but anyway, he's going to activate Timaeus, turn it into a Cavalry. Cavalry is pretty annoying because you can discard a card to negate a targeting effect. That can be a pretty big deal if you want to target it with something like Unicorn, for example. But yeah, he's going to battle us and we're going to White Princess it away. GG's, goodbye Cavalry. Anyway, he sets 3 back row though, so our plan here, of course, we're going to discard Carbane, draw a couple of fresh cards. We draw into Licorice and another Lancia. It's unfortunate that they're not really doing any Lancia worthy things right now. They might at some point, like for example Magical Eyes Fusion. But anyway, we're going to use our spell Trickstar Festival, get a couple of tokens. We're going to go into a Foxglove Wedge to burn them for 400 since they do control 4 cards, trying to get that burn game plan going. They're going to use Crackdown though, and we really don't want them to steal our Foxglove Wedge. So we are going to chain our Licorice, turning Foxglove back to the extra deck, summoning that Licorice, and we're going to turn these 2, the token and the Licorice, into Holy Angel, and he's going to use Eternal Soul, bring back Dark Magician, and we have Lancia here to protect us and White Princess here to protect us. On his turn, he's going to use Eternal Soul to search for Dark Magic Attack. Stop playing Dark Magic Attack in your Dark Magician deck, guys. It's not a good card. Anyway, he's going to end his turn because I think he knew that we had White Princess, so he's not really trying to attack into us. I'm going to normal summon my top deck to Candina. I'm going to burn him for 200 because it points to Holy Angel when I summon it. I'm going to activate Candina to search for Festival. Festival is going to be activated now, get me a couple of tokens. That's my last Festival, I think. Then I finally go into Foxglove Wedge, burn him for 500 now. And then I go into Bella Madonna. Bella Madonna, activate, burning him for 600. He's now at 1300 life points, and I'm going to attack into his apprentice. If I attack into his Dark Magician, then his apprentice contribute itself to buff up the Dark Magician. We don't really want that. So I'm going to attack into his apprentice. He's going to Mirror Force, but I'm currently unaffected by card effects because I don't point to anything, so it doesn't do anything. Oh, big animation, all for nothing, and then I'm going to activate White Princess, reduce him, and that's a GG's. I'm not going to act like this deck is going to beat up everything this meta. I just wanted to have this video up because I feel like it's important for people to know all of the cool things about this deck and to keep this deck in mind since it is so adaptable from format to format if you are a free-to-play player. So let us know if we did good, let us know what you like about Trickstars, what you don't like about Trickstars, and if you would consider playing this deck, let us know as well. And if you liked the video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notified every time we make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, guys, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low-key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.